Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're discussing a shocking and unusual criminal case that's been making headlines across South Africa, one that touches on digital crime, mental health, law enforcement accountability, and the limits of freedom of expression. It's a story that starts with paranoia, escalates into cyber defamation, and ends in a harsh prison sentence. We're talking about 36-year-old Scebi Nene, a man who's just been sentenced to 5 years in direct imprisonment for downloading and digitally manipulating images of high-ranking South African government officials, including President Cyril Ramaphosa and former Police Minister Bheki Cele, and then distributing those images in a disturbing and explicit format. Let's break this down. Back in 2018, Nene was working for Coca-Cola. But at some point during that time, he started believing he was being followed. According to his court testimony, this wasn't just a passing thought. He genuinely believed people were watching him and that his safety was at risk. Driven by this fear, he did what any concerned citizen might do: he went to the police. But here's where things took a turn. Nene said the police didn't take him seriously. They reportedly told him to go home, observe the situation further, and only return if the problem continued. Feeling that his concerns were being dismissed, he sought help from higher institutions. He approached the Hawks, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, and even the Independent Police Investigative Directorate (IPID). Still, his complaints were not acted upon. Imagine the frustration of feeling like you're being hunted, and the institutions meant to protect you brush off your fears. That kind of emotional isolation can build into something dangerous. Eventually, Nene took matters into his own hands, but in a deeply inappropriate and unlawful way. In his plea, he admitted to downloading photos of President Ramaphosa, Bheki Cele, the former National Police Commissioner, and several others. Then, using image editing tools, he altered those images by superimposing sexually explicit content onto them. The aim appeared to be to defame and humiliate the individuals by creating manipulated images that looked disturbingly real. Even more concerning, he didn't just keep these images to himself. He distributed them. In court, he expressed remorse. He claimed he had not intended for things to escalate so far. But remorse aside, the damage was done. Natasha Ramkisan-Kara, spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority, confirmed that Nene admitted to both altering and distributing the images. His case was viewed not just as a violation of privacy but as an outright attack on the dignity and integrity of some of South Africa's most senior government officials. The sentence: 5 years in direct imprisonment. Let's pause here for a moment and ask some important questions. Was this sentence appropriate? On one hand, it's a strong deterrent against digital defamation and cyber harassment. In a world where deepfakes, manipulated content, and online humiliation have become increasingly common, the state has to send a message that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated, especially when directed at public officials. But on the other hand, what do we make of Nene's mental state? This wasn't a case of a bored troublemaker or a politically motivated activist. This was someone who appeared to believe he was genuinely in danger. His actions stemmed from a place of paranoia and desperation. This opens up a much broader debate about how we treat mental health in the justice system. Was Nene ever offered psychological assistance? Was he evaluated before sentencing? Could this entire incident have been avoided if law enforcement had taken his initial complaints more seriously or referred him to a mental health professional? These are critical questions because South Africa is currently facing a mental health crisis. There is widespread stigma around mental illness, limited access to qualified professionals, and very little support for those who suffer silently. When someone starts showing signs of extreme paranoia or distress, early intervention is crucial. Unfortunately, what we see in this case is a breakdown at multiple levels. Law enforcement agencies didn't take his concerns seriously. Mental health services didn't intervene. And digital safeguards weren't enough to prevent the distribution of explicit, manipulated content. There's also a deeper issue around the role of digital tools and the internet in cases like these. We often talk about the benefits of technology, how it connects us, educates us, and empowers us. But it also creates space for harm. It allows people to spread false information, to alter reality, and to cause emotional and reputational damage at the click of a button. That's exactly what happened here. This story should serve as a wake-up call, not just for would-be offenders, but also for the institutions tasked with maintaining order and justice in a digital age. For the NPA, this was a straightforward case of criminal defamation and the unlawful distribution of explicit content. But for many South Africans, especially those who feel ignored or dismissed by the justice system, it's a reminder of what can happen when cries for help are ignored. It also shows us the dangerous spiral that can unfold when paranoia goes untreated. What begins as a mental health issue can, if left unchecked, manifest as a criminal act. There's no excusing what Nene did. Defaming national leaders using sexually explicit images is not just a bad idea, it's a crime. But we should also examine the role of public services in possibly preventing this situation. What if, back in 2018, Nene's concerns were taken seriously? What if the police had done more than just send him home? What if someone, anyone, had recognized that his fear might be a symptom of something deeper? This is not just a legal story. It's a social one. It's a mental health one. It's a story about digital ethics, and it's a lesson about the urgent need for reform in multiple sectors of South African society. And as much as it's easy to point fingers at Nene, we must also hold institutions accountable. Because in cases like this, the failure is not just individual. It's systemic. So, what are your thoughts? Was justice served? Could this have been handled differently? Is South Africa doing enough to protect people's mental well-being in times of distress? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your views on this sensitive but important issue. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay informed about South Africa's political, legal, and social developments, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay safe, and stay engaged. See you next time.